Hey guys, this is Rene. Welcome back for another video on this channel. Today I want to show you how you can write a DCA dollar cost average strategy or expert advisor for the MetaTrader 5. I will do this using the RSI indicator for entry signals because I think it kind of makes sense to use an oscillator like this, but you will be able to use this mechanism for any of your expert advisors if you wish. Also, please be aware that this is or dollar cost average strategies or expert advisors are by nature high risk, I would say, because you are investing more and more money if your position is losing. So please be aware of this fact and do not speculate with money you cannot afford to lose, especially if you want to use high risk strategies. But yeah, with this little disclaimer out of the way, let's start right into the programming part. Or actually, let me explain first what was my idea. My idea was to use the RSI as an entry signal, and then, for example, if the price is above the 70 level of the RSI, here we would sell. And as we can see here, market is going up, so we cannot really close the position in profit. So we would wait until the RSI is above the 70 level again, and then we would sell again. And if the price is higher, we have this dollar cost average effect, which means that our average entry price is higher than the first entry price, which means that if the market comes down eventually, and most likely this will happen sooner or later, then we should be able to close the position with a profit. But of course, the market could go down, could go up for years and years without a major setback. And in this case, we might even experience a fatal loss in our account and blow the account. So this is the major risk that we take with such a strategy. But yeah, let's jump into the programming. So tools, MetaTrader language editor will open the IDE. And here in the upper left corner, we can create a new program. I will call this dollar cost average YT. And I click on next, next, and finish. And this creates a brand new expert advisor for you, or for me in this case. So what I will do here is I will not explain all the basics like variables and data structures. If you are interested to learn more about this, make sure to check out the links in the video description. You will find a link to my complete programming course for the MetaTrader 5, where you can learn everything, even if you are an absolute beginner. So for those who know the basics already, if we want to use a indicator, we will of course first need to declare and then initialize the handle. This is what we do on a global scale, the declaration, and then the initialization is usually done in the onInit function when the program is activated. I like to create a bunch of input variables, for example, for the time frame, and the periods for the RSI. So I think default is 14. So we do have the RSI period time frame here for the time frame, and then we have the period, which is the RSI period. And then we can also create another input variable here for the applied price and call this RSI applied price or app price. And the default is, I think, price close. So if we compile it like this, this will create the handle, which now holds a description or a it's just the information what specific RSI we want to use, and then we can use this in the onTick function to calculate the actual or to get the actual RSI values using the copy buffer function. And if you provide the handle and the buffer number is main line, because we only have one line, then we can define the starting position, the count, and the RSI array that I just created to store the values inside. Also, here I want to make sure that we only process everything once per bar. So I will create another input here, which I call bars total or total bars. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And then here in the onTick function, we get the current bars in the chart with the ibars function for the current symbol and the RSI time frame chart period. And then we check if bars total holds a different value than the bars variable. And if this is true, we want to say bars total should be equal to bars. This is important to ensure that everything inside of this if statement control structure is only processed once with the beginning of a new bar. Because if there is a new bar, we want to check the values in this RSI array. And also for this reason, I want to create 2 more inputs here. And we could say something like RSI upper level, which could be 70, and RSI lower level. We could also hard code this, but by using input variables, it just provides some more flexibility for the user of the program. So next up, we can check if RSI at index 0 is smaller than RSI upper level, and RSI at index 1, is greater than RSI upper level, because this will be our entry signal for sell positions. Then also we want to check the opposite scenario pretty much. We want to check if we just dropped below the lower level, like this. So yeah, this is really pretty easy. I won't explain it too much because I talked about this hundreds of times in my other more basic programming tutorials, and also, as I said, in my complete programming course if you want to have a structured course. So now, since we have the entry signal, we first include the trade.mqh file, and then also I like to create a global object variable of type ctrade, which we can then use to open the positions. So here we say trade sell, and we open a specific amount of lots, which I personally also like to do as a input variable. So up here, I want to say input double lots 0.1. So normally when we open positions, we also want to provide a entry price, a stop loss, and a TP. But in this case, we don't really work with the stop loss, because we use this dollar cost average method if our position is not in profit. So yeah, for this reason, we will not add a TP and a SL so far. So if we compile this now, we can already go to the MetaTrader 5 and open the strategy tester. You can click on View, Strategy Tester, or press Ctrl and R on your keyboard. So let me also close the toolbox here. So in the strategy test, I want to use a visualize test. I want to select the program that I just created which is dollar cost average for me. Then you can choose any symbol pretty much. I will just go with gold because it's pre-selected, but you can choose whatever symbol you want. The program, as we designed it, works with any symbol. And I will just go with the default settings just to check if we can actually open positions if there's the RSI signal. So this is just what I want to check. And then in the next step, we can really implement this dollar cost average mechanism. So if there's another signal and we have a position already, we want to open another position. And yeah, you can see we get the first sell and buy positions, and this is working so far. It's working great. Oh, actually both of them were buy positions, but it's totally fine because as we can see here, RSI dropped below the level here and here. So we're good with these two signals, and there's another buy, and then the market comes back up and we see the first sell positions here actually. So far everything is great. We see so many positions, and this is also something I want to take care of because we only want to open more buy positions if we are lower than the previous buy position, of course. So to check all of the positions, we can use a loop. And this is a classical loop where we go through all of the open positions. And to do this, we use a for loop like this. So we go through every index here using I as a variable for the index of the open position. So every open position has an index. And if we have one open position, the index is 0. If we have 10, it goes from 0 to 9. So this is why we use this mechanism here where we start at the amount of positions minus 1, which again for 10 positions would be 9, and then we go all the way down to 0. So what we want to do next then is we want to get the position ticket. So position ticket will be position get ticket at index I using the position get ticket function. Then, since we now selected a position, or also we could also use the C position info class, which we also included in the trade.mqh file here. And then it makes working with positions a bit easier. So here we can then say position select by index. We select index I, and now the position object variable here can be used to get all of the properties of the currently selected position. So what I want to check first is if position type is equal to position type by, because this means we currently selected a buy position, and else if position type is equal to position type sell, because then we found a sell position. And then I also want to create two more variables here. We want to say buy price last or something like this, and we want to say sell price last like this, and then or we want to say buy price lowest. That's even better, lowest. Sell price highest, like this, because then we can use these variables later on to check before we open a new position if we are above or below the last price. So what we want to do here is we want to check if position price open is smaller than buy price lowest. And yeah, actually we should initialize this with int max or something. So just a very high number. And if position if the price of the currently selected position is smaller than the buy price lowest, then we want to say buy price lowest is equal to position price open. So we always store the smallest buy position in the buy price lowest variable. Same thing is what we want to do with sell price highest. Here we want to check if we found a new higher price, and then we store the position open price of the currently selected position in this variable. So now, before we open a new position, we can check if the current price, and yeah, maybe let's also get the bid and ask price here. Bid, symbol info double, symbol bid. And ask will be symbol info double, symbol and symbol ask. So now we can check down here before we open the position. We want to add another if statement here to check if the current bid price that we would use to open a new position is above the sell price highest. So this means that we really found a new price, a new higher price for the sell position. And same for the buy price. So before we open a new one, we want to check that we are really making use of the dollar cost average principle here. Also, what you can do is you can have some kind of puffer or buffer. So what we can do is we can say input int buffer points, for example. So we want to have at least 100 points between positions, and then you could say greater than sell price highest plus buffer points multiplied with the point value, and here minus buffer points multiplied with the point value of the currently traded symbol. So if we do it like this, and if we start the same test again, we should see a lot less positions, because now we make sure that new sell positions are only open if we see a new higher price, and new buy positions are only open if we see a new lower price. And this is pretty much the idea of this dollar cost average principle. So here we can see that we see these first two buy positions, which is fine because the second one is below the first one. Then we see another one, which is also fine. We should check the minimum distance here. But yeah, we see way more than 100 points, which is honestly not a lot for gold. And yeah, here we can see two more sell positions, but also the second one is above the first one. And yeah, there's another buy position, but we can see already, we see a lot less positions than we saw before. Like for example, here, we did not open more sell positions because the price was just not high enough. So far it is working. I just realized maybe we want to increase this to, let's say, 1,000 points for gold. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. So next, what we want to do is we want to say what the take profit should be. And here we could say, for example, input double TP, take profit, or target money. I don't know, like when do we want to close? We want to close if we made a profit of 10 euro. So what we need to calculate is the profit of all our buy and sell positions. And since we do have this for loop already, it's very easy for us because we can just create some more variables like buy profit and sell profit. And then we can just add up all of the buy and sell profits here. So if we find a buy position, we can just say buy profit plus equal position profit. And maybe we should also include the commission, but we don't really get it like this. Yeah, it's not, let's just work with a profit. And maybe I think we can include the swap because this might be relevant if positions are open for a long time. Yeah, I think it makes sense like this. So profit plus position swap. So like this, we should calculate the buy and sell profit. And then we could check the buy and sell profit after we process the whole loop here and check if we have to close a position. So what we can do is if buy profit is greater than target money, we want to do something, and else if sell profit is greater than target money, we also want to do something. So here we now have to close all of the positions. And for this reason, I also want to use a for loop. But here I think it makes sense to create a new function. So what we want to do is we want to say, let's create a function with a void return type because we just want to close all of the positions. And then we can say close positions. And we actually want a parameter for this function. So we want to have the enum position type that we want to close, right? So here in this function, we then just use the same loop again that we used before, because we again have to loop through all of the positions in our account. And again, we have to select all of the positions. So the process here so far is pretty much the same. Select by index, index I, and then we can check, if position type is equal to is equal to this position type here from the parameters of the function, because then we only close the buy or sell positions. But if this is true, then we say trade position close, and we just close the position ticket that we just selected. And that's pretty much it. So now we can use the close position function here to close the buy positions or the sell positions, like this. So if we compile now, we should see the program as it is here. It should work totally fine. And it should use this dollar cost average principle to generate a lot of profits at a high risk, of course, but this is what I told you. And you can use this principle for any indicator or entry signal. And you could also adapt it. So you could say, for example, I want to open a maximum of 3 positions. And if 3 positions are not profitable, then I want to close at a specific point. So there are a lot of possible modifications. So you can just play around with this code if you wish. But yeah, here we can see the first trades were already closed because the profit, I think, was above 50, which is, I think, the entry or the take profit that I chose here, right? Oh no, it chose 10. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, we close with bigger profits than 10 because we only process this once per bar. Because this calculation is also inside of this here. If you want to do it with every single tick, and if you want to close pretty much spot on the 10 euro profit, you would have to move this outside of the body of this if statement, of course. So yeah, I will show you the whole code later on in a second, but first of all, let me do some more testing here. I want to see where we can actually see the dollar cost average method taking action, because so far the trades are closed after the first position always. Okay, but here we saw, for example, the dollar cost average effect. So let me find these two bad boys here that were responsible for this. So yeah, here we can see we opened, what are the ticket numbers? We opened 44. This was the first entry. This was the second entry. And then we closed, even though the second position or the first position was negative. We can see the second position made so much profit so that we still in total generated a profit. And yeah, you can see, like in general, this most of the time. Oh, wait. I have to check this. We have a big drawdown. Okay, this is interesting. So here you can see, and this is the risk. So it's good that this happens. This is the risk when you use dollar cost average methods like this. So you can see we made a lot of profits. Everything was looking nice. And by the way, these are the kind of expert advisors that you can find on mql5 also, because most of the time they generate a really, really good balance or equity curve. But yeah, sometimes you get into these bigger drawdowns, and we can see this here now. So you can see we opened the first sell position, not profitable, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And yeah, we just create a lot of sell positions, and they are always open because we cannot close all of them in profit. And in the meantime, we open some more buy positions, which are closed in profit, but the sell positions are still open. And the whole time they are creating costs because of the swap fees here. In this case, the swap is positive, which is a little bit lucky because the short swap is positive for gold right now. But if it would be a buy scenario here and we would have a lot of buy positions, we would pay a lot of swap fees, which would not be great, of course. But yeah, you can see we open more and more sell positions. So far, it's not a problem because we do have a big account here. It's a 100K account. But right now, we are 10K down or even 12K down for a potential profit of 10 euros. So this is exactly the risk that you take when trading these kind of programs. And as we know, in the current year, the gold price was pretty much only bullish. So we do have a high chance of getting the knockout blow here in this year tested. Yeah, let me just fast forward this a bit by making this smaller. And yeah, actually now the price is coming down a bit. So let's see if it will be able to close the positions. But I think the price should go up again. Yeah. I mean, this is the current year, 2024, and we all know that gold is pretty much at an all-time high. So yeah, this is a good representation of the risks of these strategies. I will test another period in a second to show you how it can look if everything is working smoothly. But here we can really have a good example of the risks. So yeah, let me fast forward again until this test is finished. And also the test is going slower now because we have so many open positions and they have to be processed. Yeah, and here I think my test is over because I don't have more historical data. So at the end of my test, the short trades were still open. So they were liquidated at the end of my test and the program generated a loss. So this was a negative example of the risks and what can happen. I want to show you another example because if you choose another, close the wrong window. If you choose another starting point for your dollar cost average strategy, it will make a huge difference. It can be a complete different outcome. Let's say, for example, we want to test year 2022. Let's say to maybe the current point in time. And then let's say also we want to have a target money of, let's say, 100. So the trades will be a bit bigger. And if we test this, yeah, actually we don't really need the visual mode, because at this point we know how the program works. It's very, it's not really a big surprise in the visual mode. So let's just go with the unvisualized test and test it in the, and just see the equity and balance change in the graph here. Also, after this test, I will show you the code again. So yeah, the test is almost over, and we can see there was a major drawdown in 2022, but this one was, the year was able to recover from this, and now again it's stuck in this drawdown in 2024, which will of course not be resolved as the testing period goes. So it will close with a loss again. But yeah, you can play around with this concept. Also, of course, changing the buffer or buffer points will make a huge difference. Changing the RSI levels will make a huge difference. Changing the target money makes a huge difference, as we saw already. So you can see this is, it's just a concept. So you can tweak and twerk it until it fits your needs. Or you could just use it in some of your existing programs as a tool to change the look of your balance or equity graph. But yeah, let me show you the code one last time so you know what's going on and what we did in this specific tutorial. And then, of course, also make sure, if you want to learn more stuff like this, also with detailed explanation where I really go into the process of understanding how programming works, check out the link in the video description. So first of all, we included the trade.mql5, so we can use, for example, the ctrade class or the cposition info class. Then we had a bunch of input variables here. First off, the ones for the signals or for the trades. So yeah, how big the distance between trades should be, at least, what the lot size should be, what the profit should be if we if the market turns around. Then we have a bunch of inputs for the RSI, so how the RSI looks and what the trigger levels are. Then we create the ctrade object variable here, so that we use to open and close positions. Then we need the bars total variable to check if there's a new bar. And of course, we need another integer variable for the handle of the RSI indicator. Then in the onInit function, we initialize the handle for the RSI using the RSI function, which is a system function, which is part of the mql5 framework. Then in the onTick function, we check, first of all, if there is a new bar in the chart. Then we get the bid and ask price for the current tick. We create some variables here. First of all, we want to find the highest or the lowest price of all the buy positions, then the highest price of all the sell positions. And then we also want to sum up the buy and sell positions profits. Then we loop through all of the open positions in the account. We select all of the open positions, or the position that we are currently at with our index. And then we check if it's a buy position. Then we do the stuff that we do for buy positions, like checking if this price of the buy position is lower than the lowest price of all of the buy positions. And then we also add up the buy profits, of course. And for sell positions, we kind of do the same, just with different variables here. After this, we then check if the buy profit is greater than the target profit that we can define as a user of the program. If so, we want to close all of the open positions using the close positions function that is defined down here. The close positions function can actually be used in any program. It has one parameter where we define the position type that we want to close. Then we loop through all of the positions. We select every single position. And then we check if this selected position has the position type that we want to close. If yes, we close. And this is what we do for all of the positions. So after checking if we have to close positions, we then get the RSI values for the last two bars here. And then we check the signal for a new position. So we check if the RSI is below the, or if it just went above the upper RSI level. In this case, we want to check if the bid price is greater than the last highest sell price of all of our open positions plus the buffer points. If this is true, we sell. And for buy positions, we check if the RSI made a new low or if it dropped below the lower level. And if this is true, we want to check if the ask price is below the last known lowest buy price for all of our buy positions minus the buffer points. If this is true, we then open a new buy position. And that's it. Super simple program, super simple concept. Of course, you could add a lot more stuff, like you could add a martingale functionality, for example, where you increase the lot size if you have more positions. This would be typical. You could add more indicators or other indicators, or yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. You could also increase the buffer points with a factor. So the more trades you have, the bigger the buffer points should get. So there's a huge variety of tools that you can add to this program. This was just a simple example of a dollar cost average strategy that you might need or use to modify your existing programs or to just play around with this concept. So that's it. Hope you liked it. And this is it for this tutorial. See you in the next time. Yeah, until then, have a great time. Good trades. Bye.